Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh. Yeah. It's percolating. Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to the people on Facebook. Good morning to the people on IG. Good morning to the people on the YouTube. Good morning to the people on LinkedIn and Twitter too.
Java,
Percolating.
get a vibe, stay ready.
Truth in the cup, keep it strong, keep it steady.
Pull up a chair, yeah, take a sip with me.
Good morning, good people. Java with Jimmy. Good morning.
Good morning,
Yeah, the love percolating.
vibe percolating. Java with Jimmy. Good morning,
That morning.
good morning,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
good morning,
Yeah, the love.
vibe percolating.
Yeah,
Java with Jimmy. Good morning,
that morning.
percolating.
Yeah, we in it.
Yeah, we in it.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Java with Jimmy.
percolating.
Yeah, we in it.
Yeah, we in it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Java with Jimmy.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe. Java fan.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Thursday, June 11th, 2026, and you are here in the Java Cafe for a special Thankful Thursday edition of Java with Jimmy. I know. The happenings of yesterday with the city budget has a lot of us feeling some sort of way. And that's an example of what we're going to talk about in our first segment today, because that statement, feeling some sort of way in the Black community, that carries so much with it. And all that's going on locally, all politics are local, also in the context of what's going on nationally, trying to erase our culture. I was glad to be able to extend another invite to the historically Black phrases, personalities, team, curators, founders. They're no stranger to the Java Cafe. They were here with us before. And I think with yesterday and what's going on, their presence and comedy and just talking about our historically Black phrases. As a matter of fact, before we bring them in, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor and in the comments, first of all, again, welcome to the Java Cafe. But then first thing is like and share this episode and invite some others to be a part of this conversation, to listen in, to get some Black joy, some laughs, to remember maybe a saying that your grandparents said you never understood what they said. Like that's between you and I and the gatepost. Huh, Nana? So I got a few in my pocket as well. So I see my guests laughing in the background. So please do me a favor, hit that share button and invite others in. And in our 11:30 segment, we're going to talk with a good friend of mine that he more than most will be able to go back and testify about my former days as a direct service youth worker. I'm passionate the way I am, and I do what I do when it comes to young people. Let me just clarify. The report is that no young people under the age of 18 were arrested yesterday. I know from what I saw in the BPD report and some others, one of the city councilors let me know that there was no young person arrested yesterday. So Tre'vell will attest to my time as a youth worker, but I'm excited about today. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Tre'vell and also Jarrett. And they, again, are not strangers to the Java Cafe. I think it was 2 years ago we had you all come in and talk about historically Black phrases. And so Tre'vell, with the chance of getting in trouble, I just have to compliment Jarrett's setup because
Wow.
I just, when he first came on, I was, as a podcaster or whatever you want to call it, when people come on and they have the mic and I'm like, okay, I kind of like it. So, but I know that set him up to get it a little bit. So we're going to start with you, Tre'vell. Please say good morning and greet the audience. And then with one word, let us know. I think our phrases, our culture have always been important, but I think in these times, anything that we can extract from our culture to employ, we have to employ like never before. So give me one word for the relevance, the trending, the significance of historically Black phrases in the context of all that's going on. Good morning.
Absolutely. Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting us back. I'm Tre'vell Anderson. I use they, them pronouns, one half of the Historically Black Phrases team. And I think the word that would come to mind for me is legacy defining. I'm going hyphenated, okay? And that's the reason why I would say that word is because I feel like in moments where people are trying to erase our culture. They're trying to tell us that the truths that we know to be true aren't true. I think it's important for us to claim, right, those words and to have greater pride in ourselves in these moments, because that's when our legacies as a culture and as a people, right, are really solidified. It's in moments like this where they're trying to take our rights away, right? Or they're trying to erase our education from, from the schools. And so that's what I would say, legacy defining.
Legacy defining. Absolutely. We can go more into that and the benefit of historically Black phrases in our legacy, the village passing down, things like that. So Jarrett, good morning. Please greet the audience. And in the same context, if you could give me one word, and I don't know how, well, I think you posted, but you're in this region now, if I understand right. You're in New England or were in New England at some point?
Yes. I spent a year in Cambridge and Boston in the area while I was there for school. I was at Harvard Divinity. So what's that?
It's done? I thought you
it's
just
done.
God, time flies by.
Yes. It was very fast. It was a 1-year program. And if you consider how the school year works, it was, 10 and a half months of me even being there. So I never saw a July in Boston. You know what I mean? So I got there at the end of August. I graduated by the end of May and then had left by June. So I was there, but I feel like I can't even really claim it too well. You know what I mean?
Well, I only brought that up because, it people from outside of Boston and New England, when they come, it can go either way about their experiences. So I wondered how much of being here, has influenced your perspective of Black Boston. But anyway, give us a word, greet the audience, and give us a word for the significance of what you and Tre'vell do to curate joy, to keep our legacy out there and define in such a fun and joyful manner.
Yeah. Well, everyone, I'm Jarrett Hill. I'm a multidisciplinary artist and journalist in Los Angeles. And I wish I had like a sexier word, but the thing that keeps coming back up as I'm like filtering through options and like, no, is important. Because the reason I didn't want to use the word important was because it is such a fun show. It's like a big joy event, right? Like we have a really great time at the show. I will say that doing it post Trump being reelected, it has felt important in a different kind of way than it did before. For us to all be coming together, period. Right? Like just to be gathering feels different than it did before. But to be gathering in these spaces that we have curated with people who have come to be part of this moment, this experience, it feels important in a different kind of way to be able to laugh about these kinds of things, to be able to learn something about our history, be able to remember something that is nostalgic. And so it feels important in a different kind of way to be having fun in this kind of way. So, yeah.
I'm just going to hate a little bit because I put you on full screen and your setup. Is that a green
It
screen?
looked real good. It do look real. It is not green screen. It's real, Jimmy. Okay.
So thank you, Jimmy. I have an interior design background, and so like whatever I was going to be doing in this house was going to kind of look like something around here, right? And so I started a new podcast, The Jarrett Hill Show, and I do it from my living room. And I was like, well, what does it need to look like to work in here? But my apartment is black. It is painted black. It's all of the things that you see here, just kind of extended around. So thank you.
Okay, we're going to stay focused, but I put you on full screen, and I'm like, okay, I'm challenged. I just need to know how many times you went to the camera, looked at the shot, went back, switched the plant. No,
many times, Jimmy. So many times. So I mean, when I tell you, I have spent a Friday evening at 9:30 with lights and figuring out it is.
He's all
so
about the
much time.
details. He's all
So
about the
much
details.
time.
That one.
I am definitely challenged, and you know, I got this whatever going on back here. It's just depending on what can fit in the room at the time. But I'm definitely challenged, so I might reach out and send some pictures and be like, "What do you think?" But
I got you.
We do have a little bit of a limited time because we have Dr. Milton join us. But for those that were not here before, and Jarrett, I'll start with you this time. Can you give us a little bit of background about historically Black phrases? How did you come into this book and also an in-person gathering? And I will just say, unfortunately, they extended an invitation for me to be on the game show. Because Tre'vell, they don't know. And so without detail, I'll just say I had to chime in real quick. Without detail, going into detail, I wasn't able to be there. But I tried because I know the experience, and I grew up, you know, with my grandmother. So I know the experience of being a part of it. But how did this come to be? Was it the book first, the game first? Like, tell us about it.
Yeah, so I had this idea, I guess probably 8-9 years ago now. I live away from my family, and then I come home and I'm there for the holidays, and like it began with me being like, oh, all of these different things that we say, I'm really intrigued by them. I started doing social media posts and like talking about historically Black phrases. And that eventually became an idea to be a book. I pitched that for 5 years. I was like, I think it's a book. I think it's a video series for Blavity. I think it could be for something for BET.com. I think it could be, you know, all of these other things. But the book was the thing that kept coming back. Tre'vell and I started doing a podcast in 2020, 6 weeks before the world shut down. That was after having worked together for years at NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles. And I appreciated that Tre'vell had a different Black experience than I had, but we both had such a shared experience with language. We came together on the book, and after years and years of trying to sell it, we had multiple offers to make this into the book that it is today. It came out in September of 2023, and that following February, we went on tour with this game show that we created, Historically Black Phrases Live, where we are taking trivia, we're taking history, we're taking culture, and putting it into a live event. Where 3 different contestants come, and they are not battling to keep their Black card. We always talk about that. Like nobody's going to be losing there's no Black card revocation upon loss on this show. But we have a really good time with being able to kind of enjoy our culture, remember our culture, play with our culture, but also say something and like remind each other like who we are, where we came from. And it has become this show that we do all over the country.
Again, I am so sorry that I'm not going to be able to be there, and I'm going to stop putting you on full screen because I get distracted. I heard what you said, but I'm sitting there.
Jimmy said I wasn't listening to nothing. I want to know, what is that?
I'm like, it is just amazing. It's let me think of a phrase that would be appropriate. Brother did his thing.
Oh,
Mhm.
thank you.
It's sharp. You real sharp in there, Jarrett. Real
And
Cassie
see,
sharp in there.
and
Yeah.
see, so Tre'vell, let me ask you: when Jarrett came to you, talked about the concept, you all had worked together and done some things before, and I know you're going to be honest. Where were you at first? Were you like, where were you?
Well, I thought it was a great kernel of an idea, but as Jarrett says, his Black experience is different than my Charleston, South Kakalaki Black experience.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
yep.
And so we found ourselves having really interesting conversations where, he'd say a phrase that he remembered his mom or his aunt saying and explain it, and then I remember the same phrase, but it would hit a little different. You know what I mean? Our language and how we used it in South Carolina would turn. And so I like to say that Jarrett needed a little razzle dazzle, to in his mix. When it came to pitching this as a book. And so when we did come together, it was like peaches and herb. Okay, it was just coming together, and it was beautiful. Okay. I was going to say Ike and Tina, but I don't know. They made great art together despite everything that happened. And shout out to our icon. I'm talking about Tina. Anyway, and so the book was, the beginning of this.
I almost lost all of my equipment. The little mic I got. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The book was the beginning of this, and in similar all this fun that we're having just talking about it, Jared and I like felt that throughout our process. And so when we decided how we would go about promoting the book, we were like, oh, we should do a game night. We should turn this thing into a little game. And now it's become Historically Black Phrases Live. We've done it all over the place. We're coming back to Boston on June 18th for a pre-Juneteenth celebration, if you will. And it really is a good time, right? And that's important for us. You mentioned earlier, like all of the stuff that's happening out in the world with politics and the economy. Listen, bring yourself down to the WBUR city space, kick back, have a laugh out loud good time, and in a space among, family, right? Among community, because that's really important to us.
And that's definitely where we should be. I want to let folks know that in general, the overall Historically Black Phrases link is active, hyperlinked in the comments. I'll put it on the James page in a second. And I'm also about to put the link for you to go directly and get tickets for the 19th, Wednesday, June 18th.
Thursday, June 18th.
June 18th. And so the tickets, there's a direct link to the tickets as well. And I'm going over to James right now. And so Tre'vell, let me ask you, in the last couple of years, what has been I asked you about the relevance. You said that legacy defining in the last couple of years since you've last been here, how has that legacy been more defined? And there's intention of legacy being defined, and then there's sometimes inconvenience, based on what's going on. Where is the legacy and how is it being defined in these times?
Yeah. Well, I think for us, one of the things we've realized with the book coming out in September of 2023 and everything that has happened since, I think I'll speak for myself. I've leaned in. This show, this experience, this book was always a very Black experience, right? That's why we dedicate the book to Boo Boo the Fool, because we know only we know about Boo Boo the Fool here, okay? And then we also explicitly state in the first pages of our book that this is for Black people. This is for us. This is for us to lean in and love ourselves, the uniqueness of our language. Yeah, we don't sound uneducated. We don't sound like we don't know what we're talking about. We are just using a wider landscape, right, to communicate than other cultures. And so in the last couple years, I feel like the show has gotten a little Blacker. You know what I mean? I feel, I feel like we lean in even more to the specificities and the uniqueness of like who we are and what we bring to the table as Black folks, as journalists, as queer and trans people, you know, as folks, you know, Jarrett from the Bay Area, me from South Carolina. You come to our Historically Black Phrases show, and it is a good time because we recognize that our joy in this moment is resistance, right? Our ability to bring people together is how we, you know, restart perhaps a revolution of sorts, right, among our people. And I think, you know, it very much so for me is like, you know, we want to do the show more places, right? We want to make it bigger. We're making changes to the show because if you came 2 years ago, we don't want it to be the exact same, you know, experience you had 2 years ago. So we're growing and we're iterating off of it. We have a card game coming out in September based on the book and the show called Watch Your Mouth that you'll be able to play at home, you know, with your people, or play at the family reunion or the
Cookout.
cookout. Yes, at the cookout. You know what I mean? So in this moment, I feel like, I don't know how you feel, Jared, but I feel like we're leaning in and we're like, despite everything that's going on, we know based on history that Black people in particular, and Black, queer, and trans people especially, have always leaned in and created beautiful examples of culture and legacy in these moments of political and economic strife. And so we're doing that in our own way. Go ahead, Jared.
I wanted to ask Jarrett. He said his word was important. And Jarrett, I want to ask you, how do you take the importance of the legacy defining and translate what Tre'vell said in the actual experience of coming? I think that's one thing that I'd like the audience to hear, that what will they, you know, walk into? What will they experience? I think that that's important to hear the legacy defining. It is, no pun intended, it's important. It's important to hear, but I want people to understand that this is the night before Juneteenth. And I'll be very honest with y'all. Pride in Juneteenth this year, I'm like,
No.
because of the performativeness often, but I don't want to get, you know, off track, but I think it's important that it's the night before Juneteenth. And so, Jarrett, when people walk in, what is the experience like when they walk through the door?
I think about the first feedback that we got from the first show that we did when we went on tour with this. We went to Washington, D.C., and we were at the MLK Memorial Library. And it was just such an amazing place to start a show like this, where we were going on tour throughout Black History Month. And I believe we were even their first programming. And the feedback that we got as we're leaving the venue, we were walking with the friend of ours that programs all the content there. And he was like, I am so glad that we had so much joy in the library to start off Black History Month. And I was like, say more. He was like, so many of the things that we do around Black history, around MLK, around, you know, all of these different things, like they can be really heavy all the time because of the gravity of the things that we're dealing with, right? We're here talking about history while our history is being erased, right? We're here talking about history while history is doing some repeating, right? And we're here talking about history while history is being written in very different ways by the different people experiencing it. And so when I think about the way that we are able to bring joy into a space full of us, you guys talked about this in like the revolutionary kind of way. And like, I think it is important that we are having these kinds of spaces where we can all come together and enjoy the energy of love and joy and nostalgia and the memory. But also, one of the things that I think is always really important for Tre'vell and I when we're putting together events, because we have been putting events together as a team for about 7-8 years now. And or probably even longer than that. But like one of the things that always is really, really important to me is that I know you're going to have fun. I know you're going to know the song. You're going to recognize the clip. But like, it's really important to me that when you come, you feel welcome, that you feel seen, that you feel appreciated, that you feel like, oh, this was for me. Like, oh, people thought about this, people put time and effort and energy into this. And that when people come out of it and they say like, oh, I felt so good, right? Like that's something that you can't promise everywhere that you send people, and that I'm always grateful that people feel that when they come out to our shows.
Especially Black people. You know what I mean?
Especially Black
this
people.
This is a good
right
segue because Jarrett said it's created for us, but we know that we have allies. And so, you know, and it's so interesting because I was going to ask a question, but I presume the answer. Is everybody welcome?
Everybody can come. Yeah, everybody is welcome, but we are clear, right, that this is a show where we are centering and we are uplifting Black people, Black culture, Black language. But yes, white people, we'd love to come fellowship. Come on. You can't get an invite to the cookout, but you can get an invite to Historically Black Phrases Live. How about that? Okay, down at the WBUR.
We have been doing this show. I love the cookout gatekeep. That was completely unnecessary, but also very much so noted. I think that what's been interesting with this show and doing it in different cities around the country is seeing like the diversity of the audience. Like we have obviously a predominantly Black audience, but to see different folks in the audience and like one of the things that is part of our show is we have church fans that everyone in the audience gets, and they have our faces on them, and it is a way to participate in the show, and you have to come to the show to see how that is. But like to see everybody with their fans up to respond, right? Like to vote or to be part of the game is fun because everyone has familiarity with Black culture. Like it's always important that we remind people that American history is Black history is American history. These shows, these references, these books, these quotes, these things that we are referencing, like these are part of American history, and not only Black folks know them. So it's a great time for everybody to be able to come out, but it is definitely made for us and by us.
I definitely want to make sure that we remind folks how to come out, when to come out, to experience this, because just the joy that you brought today, last time as well, but today. So I want to make sure folks know how to sign up and go, and they're in here commenting. I'm dead. Listen, it is really, you all are Brother Arthur Doubleday. He's one of the Vineyard guys, which I'm sure you are familiar with, the Black couple of weeks in the Vineyard and whatnot. So I'm going to make sure that folks know where to get the information. This is where you can get the tickets, and also you can get general information about the movement. And as well, even though some of the allies can't come to the cookout, they can get the card game. And have
yes, they can.
From September, they can have
September.
And I got something going on in September, so we're going to need to talk because I would love to be able to pump the card game up, and we'll get a couple packs and maybe give them away as awards. But we do have to get ready to wrap up. Our Dr. Milton is in, and I want to ask both of you in the context of historically Black phrases, if I was to say the term to you, an earnest struggle. I'm going to come to Jarrett first because I think I need to give Tre'vell a couple of seconds because it seemed like there was a lot there. Jarrett, our brother Trevor Milton, I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. He is a author, a sociology professor at NYU.
No, City University of New York.
City University. There in New York, and then also. He has a film that we're going to watch a little bit. If you all, when you log off, if you could, check it out. He has a film called Earnest Struggle. It's debuting in this area in Boston. Trevor, I have to say / and Jarrett gets this in Boston / Somerville. It's Boston, but see, Jarrett was here long enough to get that. And so if I were to ask the both of you, Jarrett first, that term earnest struggle in the context of what you all do, what is your response?
I think about it in the context of historically Black phrases, like the earnest struggle it is to be doing work with Black in the name, right? It is a challenge to raise money, to sell tickets, to get people's interest, to take up space, to show up, to, you know what I mean? to make a show like this, to sell a book like this, to be offering a game like this in the future. And so it has been an earnest struggle. And I think that we come in with joy, and Tre'vell has mentioned, like, we make it look good. Don't get it wrong, right? Don't get it twisted. But that does not mean that it is easy. It is indeed an earnest struggle. And so that is how I think about it.
Absolutely. Tre'vell, you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you asked us the question, and I started looking off into the ether because I got, goosebumps. I feel like an earnest struggle describes much of the Black experience. You know what I mean? Right? Because it's a struggle, and yet we do it anyway. And that has, in so many ways, been the story of historically Black phrases, because we've dealt with so much, right? So many attempts to get us to not be proud of who we are and how we are. So it has absolutely been an earnest struggle. But on June 18th, we're gonna have a little fun. So y'all come down to the WBUR City Space, all right? Shout out to you, Doctor. I love it as a trained sociologist. That's what I call myself. Sometimes, shout out to you.
Let me just say, Tre'vell will take any opportunity to remind you that they study sociology, and I live, but it will always come up in a conversation.
That's fantastic. Sociology is my jam, so that's perfect. I love it. Love it. I love my field.
Trevor, what is it that you would say to encourage or your own? Because we heard some phrases where we used to work. I don't know if they're historical, but we used to work with young people, so I don't know how historical they are. But Trevor, what would you say to Jarrett and Tre'vell about the art that they're doing, the space that they're making, and their earnest struggle to create joy in these spaces? What would you share with them?
Well, I love it. And by the way, I want the game because I have a family reunion coming up next month. And I'm like, oh, this would just be fantastically perfect. It's funny too, because the talk reminded me of something that I say a lot in classes. I'm like, the homeland for Black folks is not Africa, it's the South. And it's like, that's all, and that's where all this language comes from. You want me to repeat that? No.
No, you said something there.
Because think about it. LA, Oakland, Boston, New York, Philly, Detroit, we have the same phrases.
Yes.
Because we all migrated from the same place. So like that's and that's our connection. That's how we all bind together with each other. And those phrases it's funny too, because it's like a little bit of it is like, I'm gonna say this sarcastically, where it's like future white kid phrases that will be popularized. Like, have you listened to Gen Alpha right now? It's like 100% right now. It's like at 100% right now.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting. But I love that you guys put together this thing that is about, hey, this is for us. This was us, and this is a part of our roots. Don't let this be forgotten. Let's celebrate this. Let's laugh at it. I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time on this answer, but I had this moment in 2020 when I was looking at the US Census, and in the racial categories, it said Black, African American, or Negro. And I was like, who the hell uses Negro anymore? And then I went to a family reunion in Georgia right after that. And my great uncles, as we were like driving down the street, they're like, that's a Negro household. That's a Negro. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I was like, okay.
It's generational, it's cultural, it's everything.
It's geographical, to Trevor's point as well. But that nugget you did, and I'll let Jarrett and Tre'vell go. That nugget that you talked about, the homeland, not necessarily being Africa, but the South, for us, for Black Americans, you said something there.
We all got aunties and uncles in the South.
Yeah.
Come on.
A lot of the experience. Anyway, we don't want to get too deep into it, but I appreciate both Jarrett and Tre'vell being here. I will keep reminding folks about the 18th, even into next week, to go get the tickets. And so thank you both for being here. And Jarrett, you're going to get an email. You're going to get a picture with a couple of examples of Trevor, hold on a second. Trevor, look at this brother's setup of full screen. Hold on.
I was checking it out during the
It's
talk.
so
and I was
good.
like, man, that is crisp. That's a crisp, beautiful background.
Okay.
It's
Very
good.
balanced.
It's working.
Oh,
it's
look.
going
Now he's
well,
showing off.
you
Hold
know.
on. We got a camera that
So
zooms in and stuff.
I'm in my living room.
So we thank y'all for being here. We took Jarrett out for a minute. No, let me behave.
He said that will be enough of that. Thank you.
Showing off.
For being here. I really appreciate
Thank you, Jimmy.
And I will be in touch. And please, when y'all come back, keep me in mind for the show, because if this was what it is here, being in place, I know they're gonna have to carry me out of there. So I appreciate.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you both.
Bye, Jimmy. See y'all later. Bye.
Trevor, I hope you enjoyed that, man, as a get ready to cross over and talk about an earnest struggle. It is really, and I will say to everyone, Trevor has been extremely patient with me, because this has been a few months in the making, text and emails and switching of dates and times and whatnot. Even today, double booked, and we have Trevor coming at 10:30. And so, Trevor, tell us a little bit about who you are. Feel free to reference back. Trevor, I'll say a little bit. Trevor and I go back to Angel Street. And if you're not familiar with Angel Street, that's a good thing. But if you are familiar with Angel Street, Trevor and I worked together there at Roxbury Youth Works some years ago on a DYS. I was DSS, I believe, DSS contract. And that's where we met. And to see this brother's journey, and he doesn't over promote it, but this is Dr. Trevor Milton. So say good morning to the folks, and then give me one word, Trevor, in these times that describes the earnest struggle of Black America right now.
One word, huh? I'll offer two. Replacement theory. This idea, it's funny because I guess I'll jump into this part first, because I started making this film 10 years ago. And I started doing my interviews for this film 10 years ago with other scholars. And it was right before Trump was elected. And all the interviews were like, there's no way this guy's getting elected. And then he did. And then, throughout that time, it's as I'm making this film, I'm like, maybe everybody's tired of this stuff. Maybe everybody's too tired. I don't know if this stuff is relevant. And then, the past 2 years happened, and it's incredibly relevant. So we're in a time where, let me put it this way. We're in a time where white supremacists are using the language of, they're using the language of abolitionists. They're using the language of civil rights activists. They're using the language of civil rights to talk about reverse racism. So we're in a very interesting time. Incredibly interesting. Yeah.
So what your word would be? Interesting.
Sure.
It would be interesting. No, because that's just something I do here in this place. And I'll be honest, that's my word for when I don't know what to say.
Interesting.
Or I know what to say, but I don't know how to articulate it in a manner that won't be offensive. You know what I mean? And so I use that word very often. And so
that white people have joined the Oppression Olympics is interesting. You know what I mean? Like that's
Trevor. Okay, we listen. This Thankful Thursday is hot. I love it.
I'm going to say a lot of controversial things. I'm sorry.
No, you listen. Maybe I should have brought you on Java After Dark so you can really get in. But tell us a little bit. You mentioned 10 years of recording. Tell us a little bit about the film. And folks, we do have a treat for you today. I reached out to Trevor yesterday. He worked on it. We have like a good 7-minute clip to pull you in, to tease you. And I want to remind you that Trevor's film will be here in New England, in Somerville, and I'll get the flyer together while we're watching the clip. This Saturday, June 13th. And so we'll hear more about that. But tell us about the film, 10 years of recording. You finally got it done. What is a earnest struggle, brother?
Well, an earnest struggle comes from an 1857 speech from Frederick Douglass. It's the same speech in which he says, there's no struggle, there's no progress. And the earnestness in the struggle, what he was trying to say is that you can't just wish for change. I'm going to bastardize this, but he was saying it's like the farmer that wants crops without rain. It's like a person that wants to cross the ocean without a boat. It's like you have to do the work You can't just sit on it and wait. Like there is no waiting out anything in this moment. And so the film started off with just me talking to a few scholars. I started to turn it into an ethnography, meaning that I just started to go out to locations to view.
Hold on. Now I have no problem saying that I need to challenge my vocabulary. You started, what's the word? Ography?
Oh, ethnography. Forgive me. That is a purely PhD like sociology term. Ethnography is it's a style of research where you take yourself and you put yourself into the environment of the people that you're studying. So it's like taking yourself there and experiencing it for yourself. So I went out to Detroit to follow Detroit Will Breathe, this activist organization that focuses on police brutality. I went down to New Orleans and it's funny because I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder if Jimmy knows about these guys. PSAB, the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. They run these anti-racism workshops. I got to speak with Leona Tate, which is actually in the clip. And so as you watch this clip, if you ask yourself, is that the same? Yes, it's the same Leona Tate. She was one of the first girls to enter integration in New Orleans in 1960. And it's funny because we look at 1960 as ancient, but like while I was interviewing her, I was like, dude, you're younger than my dad. So it was interesting. Like, it's not that long ago. It's really not that long ago.
Someone actually put up a post the other day and talked about when things change. I think it was specific to Boston, but they were going back to the 50s and 60s. And that is maybe 2 generations. Like grandparents can refer to, what was. And so a lot of the liberties, a lot of the things that we're still fighting for that are currently trying to be erased, aren't that far back where we started to see some change in our earnest struggle. And so Trevor, pray, because my audience knows that often I have an idea in mind. And then when it comes to the tech, look, it's there. It's working with me today. And so, folks, what we're going to do for like the next 6 or 7 minutes or so, we are going to get a clip, obviously from chapter 2, the story of separation, and give you an idea of Brother Trevor's film. And again, I asked for a 15 to 30 second, and he is allowing us to see a good preview for about 7 minutes. And so please take a listen, enjoy this, hit the share button, and invite others. And on the other side of this, we'll come back and let you know how you can go see the whole film this coming Saturday, June 13th. And so we'll be back with you guys in just a couple of seconds.
In 1945, federal judge J. Skelly Wright was attending a Christmas Eve party in New Orleans. Across the street, he saw another party, hosted by the Lighthouse for the Blind. The second party had posted sighted monitors to guide its blinded guests into racially segregated areas. As Wright observed, something about this process did not seem natural to him. For his career, Wright set his sights on the divide between blacks and whites in America. It was Wright that ordered the admission of black students to LSU Law School. Wright ordered the admission of black students at Southern University. After Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954, in an effort to lurch forward, Wright ordered the desegregation of public schools in New Orleans. 6-year-old Ruby Bridges would be the first to attend an all-white elementary school, while Gail Etienne, Leona Tate, and Tessie Prevost were the first to attend McDonough 19 Elementary School in the lower 9th Ward.
Had no clue that day what was about to happen. Had no idea what we were coming to do. I did know that I was coming to a new school. And I was excited about that because I hated my old school. And this one was closer to my house. I could walk 5 or 6 blocks and get here. And I walked 11 blocks to the old school. And not really understanding what was going on, but I sort of realized something was about to happen when a black car pulled up in front of the door, and that was the U.S. Marshals. We came in from the rear of the building, and all 3 cars drove up just about at the same time. And I saw mass of people outside. I didn't recognize that all the people I was looking at were white. I didn't pick up on the anger.
The nation's first decennial census was established in 1790. U.S. citizenship would be limited to free white persons, intrinsically tying race to slavery. Throughout the 1800s, these categories would change, but white and black became a constant by 1850. Many other variations were created, but the binary had been established.
I think you start to see the word white in popular and legal terminology in the late 1600s. I think it happens first in Barbados in the English-speaking world, and then later in Virginia. The first white person painted as white, as kind of preternaturally white, was John Locke, the philosopher of property and race and settlement, and a leader of the colonization efforts in South Carolina. What we haven't done so well is to understand how whiteness is formed against Native Americans. Whiteness is management, and that becomes the explanation for why land ought to go to the settler and not to the persons who are already there.
In basically all indigenous cultures, one of the fundamental underlying elements of our existence is interconnectivity, first off, and then secondly, reciprocity, right? So that if I take from you, I've got to give something to you in return because we're connected. And I can't just simply take from you without there being some sort of consequences.
And they decide that rather than have a mostly white indentured servant population and some Africans, that they'll have massive use of African slaves and try to divide those enslaved Africans from poor whites.
The structure of race in the United States cannot exist without the foundation of black and white. Whiteness is built from the materials of stereotypical blackness.
So we're talking about not some kind of new, modern, colorblind form of racism, but we're talking about the centuries-old stereotype that black people are lazy is still widely endorsed, not just by white, rural, poor Southerners, but by well-off, urban, liberal whites.
I do not have to feel superior to anyone, but everywhere I go, racism bulks me up and makes me superior. People believe me, people hire me, all of that. If I wanted to give up my privilege, I could not give it up. I married a black man, have a black daughter, I'd still get my privilege. We protect each other as white people.
You know, we have amnesia, historical amnesia about that history, and that's why this piece is is crucial in the piece. Because oftentimes when you haven't dealt with your internalized racial inferiority, sometimes we give white people too much power. Because we were taught that white people got to be in charge, white people got to be on top.
The scary thing is when I hear young black people, and I'm talking about educated, who say, well, it's not like it was, you know, Auntie Barbara, when you were growing up. Yeah, the hell it is, you understand? We still have the same kind of racial disparities oozing from every one of these freaking systems.
And some of them are.
Y'all still being killed in the street.
So we're excited to be here at the TEP Center because we're supporting the ongoing organizing of a community of women who, as children, their families put them in the face of angry crowds to address structural racism.
We've been operating now almost a year, it's about a year. We've been open to the public, and we're also introducing people to what it was like during the desegregation days. Because children in school, they just don't know that. Well, I think some positive came around, and not just with schools. You know, it didn't just desegregate or integrate schools. It did water fountains. You know, it wasn't a black and a white water fountain. It wasn't a black and a white bathroom. It wasn't a black and a white. You could sit at this counter and go to that counter. All of that opened up. It did cause a domino effect on other things, but I don't think it was that racism. Not them, especially not them.
I was reading the 1968 Kerner report. How did they say it? White racism is responsible for the explosive mixture which has been accumulating in our cities since the end of World War II. Segregation and poverty have created in the ghetto a destructive environment totally unknown to most white Americans. What white Americans have never fully understood, but what the Negro can never forget, is that white society is deeply implicated in the ghetto. White institutions created it, white institutions maintain it, and white society condones it. That's 1968. There's this full lucid awareness that, like, you have a system that affects these neighborhoods, that keeps people in these neighborhoods, and we expect them just to, like, escape from it somehow. Almost 60 years later, it's like, we still have some of these neighborhoods with the same explosive mixture.
Hold on, folks. We're back. I had to. I got caught up. And Trevor, you talk about it. Listen, I done took the headphones so I could hear.
Oh, did I get you zoned in? That was great.
Yes. I'm like, there's all of a sudden there was like 4 minutes left, and then it was over. Trevor, my first question is, in seeing just that clip, you said you've been filming for 10 years. Did the current president make the entrance on the scene yet? I believe it was 10 years ago where there was, I'm looking at running for president. I asked that because of, a lot of what's going on right now. To your point, you said that the author said that in 1968. Well, in 2026, to what the woman said, about and what did she say? The stinking impact of each and every system. Like,
yeah,
Trevor,
it's the same as when she grew up. Yeah.
So in the 10-year span you've been working on this, how relevant do you see just in that clip the Earnest struggle? How do you see the relevance of it impacting? Because there's answer the first question, because someone told me yesterday I talked to
the Trump administration would love for us to forget somebody like a Leona Tate. There is a real. It's funny because there's like. You remember, all the black conspiracy theories that we grew up with. The government's trying to kill us. They're trying to poison us here. They're trying to erase our history. We've been saying that, but now it's like, oh wow, they're really trying to erase our history now.
We're seeing it active in real time, and so 10 years ago, has your perspective changed as far as the title, or Earnest Struggle versus what the struggle is now?
It's funny because the original title was just called Modern Racism, and I started off this project with like the idea of like Obama in 2008 and the fact that we entered this post-racial society.
Yep.
And it was really the exact opposite. Like it's all the races came out as a result of Obama and everything changed. And I kind of wanted to like just emphasize that we did not defeat racism, and it's still there. And it was funny because again, when I started, this was kind of fringe thinking, and the society seemed to kind of grow with me as I was going. And it's kind of hilarious how Trump is there pushing a lot of my decision making. I start in the summer of 2016, and I'm like, there's no way this guy's going to win. I finished this film in the summer of 24, and then he gets elected again, and I have to change the film. I have to go back and redo 3 chapters because I'm like, oh, it's different now. This is different because now it's active. It's not this like, oh, implicit bias. Unconscious. No, it's a blunt object now.
It is like you would not believe. I'm trying to get the graphics so folks can know, because people already in the comments talking about so deep, well done, very deep. This was deep. I'm excited to see the picture. Brother Doubleday said well done as well. I just want to make sure that folks know. And so you said that chapters and series, like right now, the only way that folks can see the whole film is in person.
Correct.
And coming to the event. At any point, are you going to release this as like a series on either your website or YouTube for people that may not be able to come out and see it? Because just in that chapter, the educational piece and how the census language, and some of the stuff we're familiar with and we know, but the way
it's basic. That might be the most basic chapter that I have in terms of the info. Yeah.
So if you said that was the basics, some of that stuff I didn't
That was the
use.
most gentle chapter that I have.
So I'm intrigued, man, and you did do well. You're definitely a producer and a director because you left us. The person was talking, and I'm gonna say I got a couple more minutes, and I'm like, oh, it stopped. What made you take it on this thing? I know you mentioned the type of research that you did, but what prompted you to turn your research into a film?
That's funny because that's an interesting. So this was meant to be a book, which is why it has chapters. And it was so it started with me just like quoting people, and then I was like, but let me go interview those people. So it started with me interviewing people that do this work, and then kind of as I'm doing this film, the phrase anti-racism starts to enter our vernacular in society, and I asked myself, I'm like, all right, well, there's anti-racism, there's what people can be doing, but then who are the active players? Who are actively doing anti-racism? And that's when it becomes an ethnography, where I go and I start to go to people and I start to go to activists. So it's slowly evolved into a film for sure. And then I had to learn how to make a film.
I mean, listen, I can attest to some of that because I've learned, some things here in the tech space. But I am going to go ahead and get this flyer together and tell us, Trevor, what's going on in Somerville this Saturday, what time, and then how can folks get the information? And for some reason, this thing does not want to work with me. But go ahead, sir.
I'll start. Somerville actually is my place of birth. And so this is going to be my dad's like, this is the premiere. And I'm like, well, it's not quite the premiere, but it's like, this will be my first premiere outside of my campus, right? So it's going to be in Davis Square, 55 Davis Square in Somerville. The film begins at 7. It's a 60-minute film. And listen, this film is designed to be an educational piece. I have 2 hours, so it's from 7 to 9, and from 8 to 9 is me taking questions. And so the doors open at 6:30. Listen, it's technically free admission because it's for the people. But if any people feel like, they want to contribute something to the cause, I won't stop that. Donations welcome. Yeah, I'm hunting for a distributor right now because I want to keep this film safe because I'm aware that when you put stuff on YouTube, people chop it up and then the context is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of protect the context of the film because it is important to watch it in its entirety. Yeah,
it's interesting because the subject of what you're speaking, you don't want this to be usurped. You know what I mean? All the research and everything that you did, it just cannot.
That's the word.
It cannot be taken. And for some reason, Trevor, this thing is not giving me what I wanted to. I'll post the flyer, but
well, that's right. So to everybody, I use @Earnest Struggle on Instagram. There's and then it's just like Trevor B. Milton on Facebook and Twitter. Just you could probably Google search an Earnest Struggle. I haven't done that yet.
You haven't Googled yourself?
I haven't Googled an Earnest Struggle yet. No, and that should pop up. And again, I have to say this: I'm shocked that no one else used this phrase. An
Earnest Struggle.
I researched the hell out of it because I'm like, there has to be a book with this name.
You would think. You would really think, but no, it was definitely for you. And again, I mean, just in the clip now, I'm not going to tell y'all. I have the ability to go watch the whole film, and so I'm going to be doing that while I'm on my little break. But Trevor, I'm so happy for you, excited for you. It's funny because I was going to text Galvin and tell him to make sure to watch the show today. I seen him yesterday. I'm just amazed, man. And again, to look at our journeys, I would have never thought you went into authorship, doctorate, filmmaker, and then you, more than most, remember the youth worker days. I was either going to be a nonprofit leader, I think, you knew me in my preacher days, or a politician. And so to see this journey, man, and you doing this, it's amazing. It is really amazing, brother. And I think I'm pulling up for sure Saturday. I think so.
Please do.
Yeah, I have every.
I don't know if you have like another 20 seconds for me to talk about our journey.
Go ahead. I told my 11 I'd be there at 11:05, but give me the 20 seconds because I got 2 minutes.
Jimmy, I want to give you credit because I swear to God, you were the person that told me this. While we were doing social work together and working with youth, there's that parable of the man that's on the river that's saving people, and he keeps diving in to save people. And eventually he goes upstream to see why people are drowning in the first place. Jimmy, I swear to God, you were the person that told me this. And that made me go from social work to sociology. And that's where I am now. My social work background puts me perfectly right where I am today.
It is so the research, the education, to the notion of the more you know, to the piece of not knowing your history, you tend to repeat it. You know what I mean? So I hear your point about YouTube and the internet and whatnot, but we have to figure out a way. And if you put it behind a paywall, so be it. You know what I mean? But this is we'll be another 5 minutes. But no. Tre'vell, let's definitely keep in contact. I will do my best to make it out on Saturday, and I will make sure that I get the flyer and pump this out because this is definitely needed. And I wish you and historically Black phrases, I wish the days were overlapping because the three of you all together I think would be amazing.
I almost aim for June 19th actually.
See, look at that. Brother, I appreciate you. We'll text and be in touch. And man, thank you, Trevor, for making this happen because getting this booked was interesting for this brother. So Trevor, thank you. And I look forward to doing my best. You see, I'm covering myself and I don't think I let anything else hit the agenda on Saturday. So I'm gonna try to come out.
Perfect.
Brother, thank you, man. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
Peace, bro.
Peace.
All right, folks, it's Thursday. I definitely am 3 minutes late to get to a meeting, so I got to go. No announcements. We will be back here Monday. I'll let you know about programming. Keep Uncle Thaddeus in prayer and Miss Teresa as well. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace, everybody.